What is going on, guys? Dino Bam Bam here with the 10-7 MMA. Happy to be back in your lives. And UFC 312 just wrapped up, and we got a pretty goddamn good card from the land down under in Sydney, Australia. Crazy main event, crazy co-main event, just absolute fucking dominance from both champions. But I got your full card post-fight breakdown coming up. But before we get into it, just do your boys a favor. Thumbs up would mean the world to us. Like and subscribe like the thing at the bottom says. And let's get straight into it. First fight of the night was Quillian Salkild taking on Anshul Jubilee. Guys, the fight ended in like 17 seconds, I think. Couple leg kicks were thrown early. Salkild feints a one, throws a two down the pipe, sort of a two, sort of a overhand right, lands on the temple of Anshul Jubilee, who drops pretty damn bad, covers up for like a second, and then tries to wrestle up, and the referee stops it. Now, I think, the writing was on the wall there. I think it was about to be a first-round TKO had the referee let it go, but still pulled the trigger a little bit early. Unfortunately, it seems like we always get weird shit going on in the first fights of the night these days, especially on pay-per-view cards. Either way, Quillian Salkild lands a damn nasty right hand, drops Anshul Jubilee, and that is that. Second fight of the night, we had Jonathan McAuliffe as he took on Kevin Air Juice. Guys, I fucking underestimated, as Marab would say, underestimated Jonathan McAuliffe. He came out there throwing some crazy ass kicks. That's all he was spamming throughout the entirety of the fight ball. Holy shit. Every time he landed to the legs, every time he landed to the body, they sounded like baseball bats, right? Sounded like gunshots. He landed a couple to the head that were nasty. I mean, he was spamming the shit out of it. He dropped Kevin Juice with a nasty ass head kick early in the first round, I believe. He landed like what seemed to be a groin shot. Kevin Juice kind of like, put his hands down like, hey, man, like that was to the nuts. And then this guy didn't give a shit. Just threw a fucking head kick, dropped him. Jonathan McAuliffe took the first round. Second round was more of the same, right? Just spamming the shit out of that left fucking kick. It was absolutely disgusting. Juice seemed to slow down in that second round. Third round, more of the same, right? A little bit better from Juice in that round. But still, Jonathan McAuliffe absolutely just fucked him up. Stayed at range. He was too long. He stayed at kick range, which seemed to be working for him. It looked like had Juice kind of, got into boxing range earlier in that fight, maybe he could have, won that fight. Unanimous 29-28. He looked pretty damn good. Interested to see what the future holds for him. Now, third fight of the night, an interesting one. We had Rong Zhu taking on Cody Steele. And guys, this first round, if you didn't watch it, do yourselves a favor. Go back and fucking watch it because this first round was a round of the year contender. Absolutely crazy. Unreal. They both rocked the shit out of each other. Both guys were wobbled. Both almost had finishes. Steele got himself a takedown towards the end of the first round. I mean, tough fight to score. Tough round to score, I should say. Maybe Steele with the takedown, but just a nasty, nasty round of the year contender for sure. Now, round two was a clear Rong Zhu round. He dropped Steele with the jab early. Steele was slower in this round. He seemed very damn hesitant in this round, not shooting takedowns, which was the most shocking thing of this whole damn fight for me. Maybe he shot like 2 or 3 the entirety of the fight. I think he got one. I mean, he did get one in the first round. I think that was the only one that he got. Just disappointing to see a guy that is a very strong wrestler, a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner, just, an undefeated kid not using his bread and butter. Rong Zhu takes the second. He takes the third. It was a little bit more of the same, that happened in the second round. Rong Zhu picked his ass apart. 29-28 for Rong Zhu. I can totally understand the 30-27. I have no issue with that. Now, next fight of the night. This one was interesting. Colby Thickness versus Alexandre Topuria. Guys, this fight was Volk versus Topuria 1.5, right? So the first half of that round was in the first round was all Colby Thickness, kind of touching and circling. Topuria eventually, stalks him, catches him with a big right hand that wobbles and sort of drops him up against the cage. It was a weird one, but Topuria started lurking after that and just, clearly took the round. Towards the end of that round, landed a nasty suplex that's going to be one of those things that you're going to see on his highlight tape. You're going to see all over social media. 10-9 Topuria. Round two, I felt like Thickness outlanded Topuria, but Topuria was landing the harder shots, right? It seemed like anytime they exchanged, there was some fucking massive consequences for Colby Thickness, and the consequences weren't not there for Alexandre Topuria. Close round, probably give it to Topuria. I can understand giving it to Colby Thickness. Third round, whack as shit. These guys took what was a pretty fun fight, just made it boring as fuck. Thickness was touching up Topuria. Topuria eventually gets a takedown, ends up on top and rides the rest of the round out. It was like 3 or 4 minutes of ground control, not doing too much with it. Clear victory for Alexandre Topuria, 30-27 or 29-28. The judges all gave it 30-27. He kind of fights like his brother. It was really weird. There was a lot of times when the camera angle would like turn to the side or his back, and it looks like a slightly thicker Ilia Topuria. He looked like a cross between Movsar and Ilia Topuria. Interested to see what what's next for this kid, but looks pretty damn good. Next fight of the night was Kong Wang or Wong Tong or whatever the fuck they're calling her versus Bruna Brazil. Round one, not much in it, right? Wong kind of looked hesitant. She looked a little more hesitant than before, I should say, right? She was leading the dance the entirety of the fight, landing the more powerful shots. Again, consequences, right? It seemed like anytime they exchanged, the consequences were there for Bruna Brazil. They were not there for Wong Tong. Close round. I give it to Kong there. Round two, absolutely dominant for Kong. Led the dance the entire time. Tons of leg kicks. Brazil was just backing up. Literally did not get a goddamn thing going in the second round. And then the third round, DC was saying, looks like Bruna Brazil's okay, just, kind of coasting to a decision loss. And that's basically what it was, right? It seemed like she was fine just taking her L and not getting knocked the fuck out. 30-27, Wong Tong for me. 29-28 makes some sense. All three judges gave it 30-27. Great victory for her. The only thing I would say is she doesn't look as scary as she did at the beginning, right? She came in, she got that first round disgusting knockout in her debut, and then last time out, got her shit rocked and then eventually subbed. She seems to be more careful, right? She seems to be more careful now, and we'll see. I mean, she's still a real good contender. I picked her to win. Me and Diaz both knew she would win this fight, but a little more hesitant, and I don't know. We'll see what the future holds for her. Next fight was Tom Big Train Nolan versus Slava Claus, my boy Vyacheslav Borshev. Pretty good fight, guys. Tom Nolan wins the first round, a bit more volume, doing well, staying long with his legs, or, staying at distance with his legs, I should say. Slava did some decent work, especially when he backed Tom Nolan up to the cage. It seemed like that was the story of this fight. When Slava had Tom Nolan behind that black line that Ilia Topuria famously likes to, push his opponents behind, Slava was doing some damn good work with the hands, but just not enough in that first round. Second round, very close. Nolan had a takedown towards the end. Slava almost ends up hitting a switch on it, doesn't get it. Got to give that round to Tom Nolan. Controversial third round. I mean, a lot of people gave it to Tom Nolan, and so did two of the judges, I believe. I think Slava wins that third round. He ended up on top, did some good ground and pound. Either way, Tom Nolan ends up winning that fight by unanimous decision, 229-28 and a 30-27. He's big, man. He's big as shit for lightweight. I think he's Jalen Turner's height, which is absolutely fucking wild when you could be that tall, that big, and still make 55. Congratulations to Tom Nolan. Next fight of the night was Jack Jenkins taking on Shoot the Box's Gabriel Santos. First round, great round. Jack Jenkins lands a nasty head kick that dropped Santos early in that fight. Looked like he was about to get himself a first round TKO, but Santos, being tough as hell, having that jiu-jitsu background, survives, right? Locks up a triangle, looked deep, looked like he might get the sub there, but Jenkins stayed calm, survives it. Later on in the round, Santos ends up getting a takedown of his own and finishes out on top. I can understand scoring that round for Santos, but I still give it to Jack Jenkins with the drop. Second round was absolutely dominant from Santos. Landed a takedown, good ground and pound the entire round, and it seemed like Jack Jenkins was tired as shit going into that second round. And you can't blame the guy, right? A lot of times when you think you're going to get somebody out of there early in the first round, these fighters will blow their fucking wad, and, that was kind of the story of this one. And then the third round, Gabriel Santos again gets it to the ground, gets a nasty takedown, gets a submission. Just not much to say, man. The kid is athletic. He's big as shit. He's got good power. He's got good sub skills. And to just fucking out-tough a guy like Jack Jenkins, really damn impressive from Gabriel Santos. A lot of people you watch a lot of these people that break down fights. You watch a lot of these MMA insiders, and they're loving Gabriel Santos. That was a fucking flawless performance versus a very tough guy. So shout out Gabriel Santos. Shout out Shoot the Box, one of the best gyms in the world. Absolutely awesome performance. Now, we move to the main card. We had Jake Matthews taking on Francisco Prado. Guys, Jake Matthews looked so goddamn big compared to Francisco Prado. Now, Prado, a natural 55er, moved up to 70. And what's weird to me is the kid's 22 years old, and he's like, man, I struggle to make 55. Brother, that is not a good thing. That is not good at all. He's undersized for the division, and that showed in this fight. Matthews in the first round, just more volume, kind of, doing well with range, right? That's really what it was all about. Staying at range, didn't let the finisher, the short, stocky finisher, get in range very often, and he just looked quicker than him. Second round, Prado did a little bit better. Held Matthews up against the cage for a while, for about 2 minutes. He opened up Jake Matthews opened up a cut on Prado, but activity was close. I could see giving Prado that round as probably Jake Matthews. Third round, definitely a Jake Matthews round. More volume, held Prado up against the cage and just kind of dominated. Used his size and just fucking won the fight. Good to see Jake Matthews back in a bit of form, right? So Prado, to me, he has the power for 170, but he's just too damn short for the division. He's got to figure something out with his dieting. The kid is 22 years old. You got to be able to make 55 because I don't think 70 is the right division for him. This is one of those guys that would benefit from having a 160 or a 165-pound division. Matthews wins the fight unanimous 30-27s across the board and then calls out Neil Magny, which I did not fucking like. To me, that's a pussy-ass move. Anytime, and I know he's not a prospect, right? Like, he's a guy that's been in the UFC for over a decade, so that's fine. You can call out a veteran like that, but you want to get into those rankings, and you want to, he's still pretty young. He's kind of on fire right now. Call out a guy like Carlos Prates. Call out a Sean Brady. Like Neil Magny. Anytime I see somebody calling out a guy like Neil Magny, or last year when people are calling out Tony Ferguson, I do not fuck with that. I feel like that's a bitch-ass move. Just calling out a corpse of a guy. But anyways, congratulations to Jake Matthews there. Now, Jimmy the Brute Crute, who we have a picture up with at the107MMA on Instagram. Y'all should go follow us there. He faced Rodolfo Bellato, and this was a fucking crazy fight. The first round, absolutely dominant from Jimmy Crute. Early on, Bellato goes for a takedown. Crute reverses it and ends up on top for damn near the whole round, landing filthy ground and pound. Bellato finally gets up, goes for a pocket exchange, and Crute drops him bad with a right hand that sneaks past his guard. The round ends after some ground and pound. Absolutely fucking dominant round from Jimmy Crute. 10-8s. 10-8 for me. And I saw Henry Cejudo tweet that as well. A lot of people had it as a 10-8. I believe one of the judges did as well. Round two, crazy round. Pretty damn close. I would say Jimmy Crute probably won that round. It felt like he landed a little more, but he did get wobbled. So I understand giving that round to Bellato. Great round from both men while absolutely fucking exhausted. Both of them were gassed in the second, and they were slugging. Fun round. Round three, Bellato wins the round clearly for me, right? More volume, had Jimmy reacting to the calf kick. His legs started getting fucked up, and I'm sure he had shades, because if we had shades of it, I'm sure he did, of that drop foot that he had, right? Crute started to pick it up late in the round, but too little, too late. Tough fight to score. I gave it round one, 10-8 for Jimmy Crute. Round two was the swing round, right? I understand that round going to Bellato. And the judges ended up scoring it a majority draw. So one judge gave it to Jimmy Crute. Two judges had it as a draw. Maybe run it back. That was a pretty fucking fun fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that shit again. We move on to the big boys. Justin Tafa taking on the debuting Tyson Teixeira. This fight was always going to be exactly what it ended up being, right? We knew one of these guys was going to get knocked the fuck out in the first round. It's just which one is it going to be? Quick-ass first round knockout for Teixeira. He backs up Tafa, gets him up to the cage, throws a knee up in the clinch, and then throws a fucking elbow that drops Tafa. And Tafa covers up for like 2 follow-up shots. And again, the referee, quick trigger, goes in there. Tafa gets up complaining. I think it was a fair stoppage, but I get it, man. Like, it's got to be frustrating as shit to go through a fight camp, to spend all this money, and I know they didn't travel very far, but still, on coaches and plane tickets and fucking traveling and just the gym and all that bullshit. It's got to be frustrating as fuck to get that taken away from you, at least in your opinion, by a referee. Maybe a couple more follow-up shots would have been good, but I have no issue with the stoppage. Tyson Teixeira is big as fuck, so we'll see what he has for this heavyweight division. Could be a good prospect, could be another fucking fraud. I think that's yet to be seen. I'd like to see 2 more fights from him before I start thinking he is legitimate. Now, The shit that y'all been waiting for, guys. The co-main event of the evening where the champion, Zhang Weili, faced off against Tatiana Suarez, and Weili absolutely fucking dominated this fight. Now, the first round, a difficult one to score, right? The first exchange of the round, Tatiana gets a body lock, gets Weili down, and stays on top for the majority of the round. The last 40 seconds or so, Weili flips positions, lands some decent ground and pound. And the reason I say it was tough to score, because yes, Tatiana got the takedown immediately. And yes, she remained on top for the majority of the, whole round, but she didn't do anything. There was no ground and pound, no submission attempts, just kind of staying heavy on top of Weili and riding and trying to stay in control. I get scoring it for Suarez. That's fine. Because round two, Weili comes out and it was absolutely phenomenal. Just dominated the round. Suarez could not take her down. Weili was doing great work when she ended up on top, after stuffing some of the takedowns. Awesome round for the champ. Round three, again, absolutely dominant for Weili. She controlled Tatiana. She had her wobbled. It looked like Weili was about to get a TKO in the third round, which is what DS predicted. Stuffed every goddamn takedown. Unbelievable round for Weili. Again in the fourth, more of the same. Dominance from Weili. Just cracked Tatiana again multiple times. Got a takedown, stayed on top, great ground and pound, throwing some nasty elbows, opened up some cuts. By the way, throughout this fight, Tatiana Suarez, I believe in the second round, she hit her knee up against the cage and got a filthy gash on her knee. It was deep as shit. They were showing it on the camera. The crowd was oohing and fucking eyeing. But yeah, Weili dominates the fourth, fifth round, more of the same, just dominant. Getting takedowns of her own, stuffing every goddamn takedown. Tatiana Suarez, after that first round, looked super damn desperate. She was just reaching for takedowns, had nothing in the striking for Weili, and got everything stuffed. I mean, absolutely dominant. I would love to see Zhang Weili versus Valentina Shevchenko next at 125. Weili deserves the opportunity to go for double champ status. If not, if she's going to stay at 15, it's got to be Virna Janjanova if she wins the fight that she has coming up. Unbelievable by Weili to stifle the grappling of a girl that is bigger than you, probably stronger than you, and fucking just a brute in the grappling. Nasty jiu-jitsu, nasty wrestling, and Weili was having none of it. Now, we move on to the main event of the evening. I already did a breakdown for this. Link in the description below. This shameless plug. So like and subscribe and do all that bullshit as well. But the main event was Dricus du Plessis facing Sean Strickland. And guys, what is there to say? Like I said, I went into it in that other video. Quick synopsis of the fight. Dricus fucking dominated Sean Strickland, right? At least 4 rounds to 1, maybe 5-0. The first round was a little bit weird. Vegas looked like they scored it for Sean Strickland. The odds got narrower. So I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I scored it wrong. I gave it to Dricus. Sean Strickland never got going, man. It looked like either A, he was worried about his staph infection and the cardio kind of being shit, or B, he was just worried about what was coming back from Dricus. But Sean Strickland never got going. The volume that he's known for, the pace that he's known for, the cardio that he's known for, not there at all. The most disappointing Sean Strickland performance I've seen in a long damn time. Dricus du Plessis, to his credit, for the first time in his entire UFC career, he looked like orthodox, right? He wasn't the awkward fucking this shit and shooting for fucking takedowns. It was a great performance from DDP. He looked technical. He never really went after it until in the fourth round when he landed a straight that fucking shattered Sean Strickland's nose. Strickland started grabbing his nose and backing up, and it looked like he was in crazy pain. Dricus sees that, blood in the water starts fucking swarming, and the sloppiness comes out. Sean survives and, kind of dogs it out, but just more of the same in the fifth, man. DDP, flawless victory over Sean Strickland. I think it's got to be Khamzat next. If it's not Khamzat, I can understand Nasruddin Imavov, but he called out Alex Pereira, and it seems like Alex Pereira said he's down to do it at 205. So super fight with DDP, man. I think if you do DDP and Poatan, that's an absolutely massive fight. One of the biggest fights the promotion could make. But I think him and Khamzat is another fight that the promotion would love to put on. The only knock against that is that Khamzat Chimaev, man, not very active. We don't know about this whole, coming to the U.S. fucking you know, the status with his visa and all the travel restrictions and all that bullshit that he's got going on. Either way, though, man, congrats to DDP. We put up a picture with him at the 10-7 MMA. So go check that out. Give it a like. Leave your boys a like and subscribe here, though. Please, thumbs up, subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000. UFC 312, guys, a badass card. Just dominance from both champions. That was cool to see. I mean, it looks like they are a step above everybody else in the world in their division. So congrats to Dricus, congrats to Zhang Weili, and yeah, that's it, guys. UFC 312 was awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.